I'm just a freaking bunch of standing waves happening to stand in front of you in a little town outside of Amsterdam right now. I'm this bizarre compilation of energy and particles that happen to be holographically manifesting in front of you on the stage right now, and I happen to have a lot of passion that comes with it, and blame some cosmic force for that, but guess what? You can't take what I can't give. And the minute every one of you who actually heard Catherine Austin Fitz, who gave a phenomenal presentation earlier today, the minute some of you realize that it is your transparency about your own mythology, of your own separation and your own isolation, which is the reason why you can't contemplate a financial system with full transparency. Oh, hold on a second, Dave. You're saying that we might bear responsibility? Yes. And not only do we have responsibility, we have accountability. Which means we actually have to answer for how we show up. And the minute we actually embrace that, we start going, well, hold on a second, where's the victim here? And guess what? There isn't one. There isn't one. The victim is only created in economics, in politics, and in corporate, global dynamics of how trade works and everything else. The victim is only created by what I like to refer to as ignorance arbitrage. Ignorance arbitrage. Ignorance arbitrage starts when I give you a piece of currency in exchange for not having to ever deal with you again. Isn't that nice? I walk up to the checkout, buy my coffee, give you €2. I never have to have any responsibility for that relationship anymore. Because I'm done. Why? Because currency took care of it for me. Go screw yourself. I'm done. Next time you give somebody a piece of currency, I want you in your head or out loud to say, here's my euro, go screw yourself. Because that is what you're saying. You've been told currency is an efficiency. Oh, come on. What currency really is a surrogate for not having to build community and trust. That's what currency really is. It says, guess what? I don't have to remember my account with you because you don't exist. I just neutralized you with this piece of paper. You don't exist. See, you laugh kind of, but in a really kind of perverse way, you shouldn't be laughing. Because it's really sick. Because you're trying to solve a problem, but you're not solving a problem because the problem is an illusion of your own creation. Accountability and transparency, politics, economics, technology, all of those are artifacts that stand between you and realizing that you are the actor. You're the one that decided currency was an efficiency because somewhere somebody told you that that was the way you do it. And then somebody else told you, fear for your future. So put some money away. Fear for your future. Put some money away. By the way, my pocket is open. Put your money in my pocket. Trust me. Trust me. Really? How many of you have a personal relationship with the manager of your pension? Personal. Like you would actually leave your child when you went out to dinner, you'd actually leave your child with your pension fund manager. How many of you would do that? By show of hands, how many of you would actually go, hey, I'm going to leave my pension fund and my child with you? You laugh because that sounds like madness for most of us. There are two people who actually know enough about their own money to actually know where they leave it. The majority of you would go, that's madness. I don't even know who the person is. I couldn't even find him. No kidding. Guess what? Remember that fear you had? Be fearful, be fearful, be fearful for your future. Trust me, I'll hold your future. Remember that? You're all fine with that. Except two of you. Two of you actually have the audacity to actually know who's actually controlling what's supposed to be, allegedly, yours. Fascinating. Fascinating. How many of you actually take a moment when you actually think about the currency that you actually use every day, how many of you actually think about the fact that when you engage that currency, there are 20,000 dead bougainvilleans who actually are on the back of whatever electronic device you used to swipe your credit card, to type your email, to write your private placement memorandum. How many of you actually recognize that? And by the way, this is not a guilt trip. The only way we can actually redeem the lives of those 20,000 people is to remember them. Did you hear what I just said? The only way we can redeem those lives is to remember them, and not to let their silent deaths stay silent. The only way you can redeem these things is not to actually say, well, forget it, I'm out of copper. Lithium mines, South America, look into it. Oh, but it's a hybrid car. Bullshit. Oh, but I'm using wind turbines. Good. Go look at the great balsa clear-cut forests all over the Pacific and tell me how you feel about your wind generation green energy bullshit programs. Come on, go look at it. P&G Balsa makes all the inside blades for all these wonderful turbines so that people in Europe and people in America can feel good about green energy by clear-cutting forests. Because that makes sense. People, if we actually care, not if we care about our pet projects, but if we actually care, we'll actually stop pretending like we can solve a problem that is an illusion of our creation by creating an illusion of someone else's problem. It doesn't work that way. That great presentation we saw earlier with all the arrows up and down, earth and yin and yang and all those kinds of things, guess what? Every single wind turbine that you've seen dot every single landscape has a rainforest tree inside of it. Love that. Go green. God, I feel good. Actually, I don't. How do we break through? We break through by a very simple principle of physics. And that is what we refer to as phase and state coherence. Phase and state coherence. If you really want to break through a paradigm, what you do is you start by looking at all the things you use to disintermediate what would be the right thing to do. So let's take, for example, if I actually decided I don't like currency, so I want to disintermediate currency, the first thing I would do is pick a transaction. It doesn't have to be every transaction, but pick a transaction where I refuse to actually transact with currency. Now, I eat my own dog food, so I'll tell you how I do that. A third of all of our corporate activities have to be explicitly compensated with no monetary exchange. Do you hear what I've just said? I'm the chairman of a company that operates in 146 countries. A third of all of our transactions have to be denominated in a non-currency value exchange. It can come in the form of commodity, custom and culture, knowledge, technology, well-being, but it cannot come in the form of money. How many of your business plans for free energy have actually thought that through? Where you explicitly say, I'm going to be compensated in any combination of those 5 non-monetary value exchange units. We call it integral accounting. Integral accounting actually says you actually have to live in the world that you want to live in. If you want to live in the world, then actually start living in that world. Rather than pretending like you one day might want to be there, actually wake up tomorrow and start living there. Build one relationship on integral accounting. Build one relationship where the sole value is your ability to actually trade culture for culture, knowledge for knowledge, commodity for commodity. Do something like that. Try that. See how that works. And then do something else. Actually map the transactions that you're involved in and ask yourself, how many times did you say the following? I would have got that done had I got it funded. Has anybody in the room, we talked about transparency. Catherine Osofitz told us that transparency would be a good thing, so let's be transparent. How many of us have ever said, I would have but for the money? I would have done anything. I would have taken the trip, I would have taken more time with my family, I would have done the business, I would have started the company. If you don't raise your hand, I know you are actually not listening, because I know that somewhere every person in this room has said at some point, I would have X, but for the money. And then I want you to go back and say, reclaim that moment. Just start doing it. Start doing it. Don't give yourself the out. Because you know what money is at the impulse of creativity? It is, in fact, what's called a phase state dissonance. It gives you the opportunity to actually subjugate your creativity for an excuse not to perform and not to act. Hell of a transaction. I can always blame it. It always shows up for me. Phase state dissonance stands between humanity and its future at every juncture. And until we resolve phase state dissonance, we won't move forward. Because we actually have to find somewhere inside of ourselves the ability to say, I have the impulse to act, therefore I act. Because the amazing thing is that the impulse that you had to act was entrusted to you in the moment where you actually had something standing right next to you that you could use for the first step. And had you had the decency to use that first thing, the cosmos would have actually given you the next thing. And the next thing. And the next thing. But no, what we do is we go, no, I wanted the money. You're my friend. Just hang up. I'm looking for money. No, spare office space. No, I'm looking for money. No, extra computing capacity. No, I'm looking for money. Guess what? Money goes, not going to show up. Why? Because you had all the other dimensions of value and you didn't honor them. Guess what you're not going to honor? Hello? Law of the universe here. Calling. Oh, no, I'm looking for money. What we're looking for is phase state coherence. As much as possible, what you want to do is say that if you need space, configure space. If you need utilities, configure utilities. If you need commodities, configure commodities. Don't look to the funding first. Look to the thing you need first. Don't let the absence of money disintermediate you from the ability to actually access the resources that you have. And lo and behold, you will be amazed at how many resources actually don't even live with money. Like legitimately, don't hang out where money hangs out. I get to say this. And I get to say this because for now 22 years, I have run global corporations on these principles. And the reason why I actually jump on a plane